kids, I'm here for our curriculum read aloud, and this one is called The Happiest Tree, a yoga story. Author is, I'm going to try my best at this, Uma Krishnaswamy. Illustrated by Ruth Ayaviran. Okay. This is the front cover. This is the back cover. This is the spine. Remember, we read starting on this side, so it goes like that. Now, before we read the book, let's go over just a couple things. So, the story is about this. Mina's class is preparing for a school play, but she's nervous that she is too clumsy to stand still in her role as a tree. If she's playing a tree, she'd have to stand really still, wouldn't she? She discovers a yoga class where she learns to breathe, stretch, and calm herself. As the play gets closer, Mina is still worried that she will stumble and ruin the play. Will yoga help her to become a tree in the play, or will she trip and fall? Now let's talk about some vocabulary that we're going to run into while reading this story. There's the word improved. Well, to improve on something, you're making it better. Clumsy. Well, she has a hard time controlling her body. She may trip or just stumble when she's walking. Performance. Well, if you're performing something, you're either acting or singing or dancing for a group of people. And a rehearsal. If you're going to do a performance, either acting, singing, or dancing in front of a group of people, rehearsal is the time to practice for a performance. What about topple? What's topple mean? Well, that means to fall over. How about sets? Well, sets, think of going to see a play. That's where people are on stage acting out something. The sets is the scenery in the background on the stage for the play. Now, we'll learn about a country called India. That's a country in Asia. And that's another continent on the other side of the world. Here's a big word, astonishment. What's astonishment? That's a surprise. How about a cloak? Well, a cloak is a coat, but it doesn't have sleeves. If you can picture that. How about snagged? What happens if you snag something? Well, if you snag something, it means something gets torn on something that's stuck out. So just say if something was sticking out on a desk, I walked near it and caught my sweater on something, it could rip. So that's what it means to snag. Oh, those are some of the things that we learned ahead of time, but let's read The Happiest Tree, and let's find out what happens. Mina was excited about the play her class was writing, a new improved version of Red Riding Hood. She laughed out loud when they decided that Grandma would chase the wolf. She liked figuring out how the story would end for the woodcutter, and she loved painting the sets until she spilled the paint. It's okay, said Mina's teacher, Mrs. Jackson, but Mina felt terrible. She felt awful. She spilled the paint. When the class chose parts, Mina pretended she wasn't interested. Mina, everyone gets to play a part, said Mrs. Jackson. Mina shook her head. All she could say was, I can't. I'm too clumsy. Mrs. Jackson would not take no for an answer. Of course you can, she said. You can be a tree. We need lots of trees in the forest. Soon it was time for the first rehearsal. Walking onto the stage, Mina hoped she wouldn't stumble. She hoped she wouldn't trip. But then she stumbled. She tripped. She almost fell. Mina, groaned the other trees. Mina wished she could fall right through the stage and become a disappearing tree. And there's Mina sitting at the table with her mom at dinner and her dad. At dinner that night, Mina drooped. "I'm the worst tree in the world," she said. "Why?" asked Mom. "What happened?" Mina told her parents about the rehearsal and how she had tripped and stumbled. "It's all right, Mina," Ronnie said, Mom. "It's just that your arms and legs are growing really fast. That can make you feel clumsy sometimes." "You don't have to be perfect," Dad added. "Just try your best." "I'm perfectly clumsy," Mina said sadly. The next day, Mina and her mother went to the Indian grocery store to buy rice and flour and spices. There was so much to see. Mina whirled around looking. "Careful," cautioned Mom. "I'm being careful," said Mina. She leaned forward to look at a little brass bell. A bag of rice toppled over. "It's all right," says Mrs. Vora, the owner of the store. "Let her look." She gave Mina a piece of mochi to munch on. The spicy flavors of the crumbly snack danced in Mina's mouth. "Thank you, Auntie," said Mina. Mrs. Vora was everyone's auntie. Look at that. All sorts of things to see in this store. Oh, sure, this is a full page pictures. Suddenly, Mina saw something that made her fall gup-chup silent in astonishment. Through a window in the back of the store, in the room beyond, she saw feet. They rose up into the air. They stayed very still. Then slowly they went back down. "That's one of our yoga classes," said Auntie. "Would you like to join in my children's class?" "I'm too clumsy," said Mina. "Clumsy shumsy," said Auntie. "Just try it and see, nah?" Mina watched the window. Now hands rose up in the air. Mina raised her own arms. She joined her palms over her head. "Oh my," Auntie said, "you're doing better already." So Mina agreed to sign up for the yoga class. And there's the yoga class. Everybody's on a mat. They tell you what kind of pose you have to do. Yoga class was not easy, but Mina tried her best. She breathed slowly and deeply. She stretched like a rubber band. "Let's do the cat pose," said Auntie. "Breathe in, arch up, breathe out, down, breathe in." Mina breathed in and out and arched her back up and down, but then she lost her balance. Her foot shot out and she nearly hit the yoga cat behind her. "Now the frog pose," said Auntie. "Down on your knees. Sit back on your feet, knees wide open. Bend your body forward." Mina bent her body low, but when she tried to put her hands on the floor to rest on her lily pad, she fell over. Mina stretched and breathed her way through the yoga class. Auntie told her what she did correctly and helped her with the difficult parts. Soon, Mina could breathe deeply and make herself still. Her feet didn't shoot out so much. She didn't topple over as often. "Very nice, Mina," said Auntie. Mina felt golden warm inside. During rehearsals for Red Riding Hood, Mina tried to be still and quiet, but her feet had trouble staying rooted. She kept looking around. She laughed at all the funny parts. She wanted to say the lines when her classmates forgot them. "Mina, stay still," said one of the other trees. "Only your branches are supposed to move," said another. "Shh," said a third. Mina tried her best, but it was hard keeping her arms and legs from moving around. In yoga class, though, Mina's arms and legs learned to work in smooth, slow movements. She stretched out flat on her stomach and kept her feet together. Then she propped herself up on her arms and raised her head, turning left, then right in the cobra pose. One day Auntie announced, "We're going to try the tree pose." "Oh no," cried Mina, "I'm a terrible tree." Auntie looked puzzled, so Mina explained about the class play. "I understand," Auntie said, "but a yoga tree is different. Just take a deep breath, hold it for 2 seconds, and let it go." Mina began to relax. She rooted her feet and raised her arms. She breathed and breathed. She calmed down. Her worries went away. After a few weeks, Mina found it easy to breathe slowly and deeply in yoga class. One day when all the children were sitting in the lotus pose, a thought lit up in Mina's mind. "I can change my body by how I feel inside," she realized. "If I am quiet inside, my body will be still. That's what yoga is really about." Mina hugged her thought to herself. It filled her with gladness. She imagined herself standing tall and still, growing roots in Red Riding Hood's forest. On the night of the performance of the new and improved version of Red Riding Hood, Mom and Dad drove Mina to school. Mina and her classmates put on their costumes. Mina's sweatshirt and tights were stretchy and soft, but her tree branches tickled and her roots scratched. "Don't worry, Mina," Ronnie said, "Mom. You'll be fine." "We know you'll be a great tree," said Dad. "On stage, everyone," Mrs. Jackson announced. "It's time to start the play." That was when it happened. As Mina walked onto the stage, one of her branches snagged Red Riding Hood's cloak. Then Mina's right foot stepped on the roots of her left foot. She tripped. She almost fell down. "Mina," whispered the other trees. "Mina, leave your broken roots behind," said Miss Jackson. "Just do the best you can." Mina kicked her way out of the pile of roots. She looked around for a place to hide. How could she be a tree without roots? Through the curtains, Mina saw the audience gathering. She found Mom and Dad. She spotted someone else, too. Auntie had come to see Mina be a tree. Mina knew she couldn't hide, so she started her yoga breathing. In and out. In, out. She got so quiet she could feel her heart beating. Then she stood up straight in her best tall tree way, raised her arms high, and took her place on stage. Never mind those silly old roots, Mina thought. She would grow her own yoga tree roots right into the floor of the forest. The curtains opened and the play went on. Grandma chased away the wolf. The woodcutter became a recycled paper salesman, and Red Riding Hood wrote a play about her scary day in the forest. Through it all, Mina took deep breaths and let them out. She was still when she needed to be still. She moved slowly and carefully when she needed to move. Best of all, she knew she could do this again anytime she wanted to. Mina was the happiest tree in the whole forest. Well, I hope you enjoyed the story. So let's just talk about a couple things. First of all, Mina loves the idea of an updated play about Red Riding Hood. I think she pretends she isn't interested in a part because she's nervous that she'll ruin the play. What do you think? Maybe. When Mina sees the group of children raising and holding their legs in the air, she is fascinated. She must be wondering how they are able to move so carefully and smoothly, right? How about this? After practicing yoga, Auntie tells Mina that her yoga pose is very nice. And that makes Mina feel golden warm. She must feel proud and happy to be moving so carefully and smoothly. Mina realizes that she can control her body and her thoughts. That makes her feel good and feel glad. So, what do you think Mina thinks when her teacher refuses to take no for an answer and includes her in the school play? Maybe she didn't want to, but her teacher insisted that she do it. How do you think she felt? And Mina works hard to practice yoga and keep her body still. What else can Mina do to calm down when she feels nervous or clumsy? Oh, I want you to think about that. I wonder how yoga helped Mina calm herself in the play. What do you think? Well, we'll hear the story again, so try to remember some of the things that happened, and next time when we read it, maybe you can figure out some of the questions and figure out some of the answers that I'll ask. Bye, guys.